Welcome back. Today we're talking
About my least favorite thing.
debt confessions.
Don't love it.
No, I mean, the fact that we even have a debt confession says lots about our communication.
Yes.
But let's just take it back to the beginning.
The very beginning?
The pre-beginning.
Like when we were dating beginning?
We were dating.
Oh,
so
boy.
we were dating. I graduated from college. Had to have maybe I was still in college. I went through Sears with a 21% interest rate, and I bought a VCR. Right, it was critical that I have that thing. And when we started dating, we started talking, and he was really clear on one of our first dates was to a financial advisor. He was real clear on how strongly he felt about debt. So I did what I was capable of at the time and just buried that thing. Not to never be addressed, like if I ignore it, it'll go away. But it was, I thought you were going to say something, but it was a matter of, let's say I owed $1,000 and we were getting married in 10 months. I paid $1,000. That's not how much it was. I paid $100 a month until I got it paid off. I paid it off June the 30th and we got married July the 4th. And so it was gone. I made it disappear.
But I didn't know about it.
He didn't know about it until
I didn't know about it. We talked a little bit, but we had talked a little bit about debt.
I made it go away.
What about your student loans?
I did have student loans. That was something that I felt it was just a given. It was how I went to school. It was the way I could go to school.
I don't have a problem with that. I understand that people have to take out loans, but what I have seen when people do that is that they take that money and they live a lifestyle that is not conducive to being in college. The ones I saw lived it up, and they were like, well, I'm going to have to pay it back anyway. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you're going to have to pay it back at what, 6%, 7%? So that pizza you just bought, or I didn't get it. And then I went to school with a couple people that paid as they went. They worked and they paid. And when they got done, they were debt free. And I'm like, that's tough. That sure seems to be a lot smarter to do it that way. I do
know. I remember hearing a tale of Ronnie Borland, who was a man who had great influence in my life, who worked full time. We went to school full time, and he had a family, and he made it happen.
And it's tough. I mean, I get it.
It's certainly the hardest way.
It is the hard way. But what do you always talk about? Hard choices now makes for easier choices later. And flip that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are experiencing that right now is that, yes, they took those student loans. They didn't plan. And now all of a sudden, here they are. Man, it's kind of like a disease. You can't get rid of it.
Sticks around for a long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
So that's one form of debt.
That's one form of debt. I can honestly say that was the only undisclosed debt that I ever had.
I remember the other debt you drove to the house.
I did buy a car around the same time. And I was so proud.
She came in and she said, look, I have this coupon book. Every month I just pull one out and write a check. And I just started going, oh, that's a 5-year car loan.
I think it was 3. Okay, can we just have a moment to talk about coupon books? If you're
old,
if you're
like
in
us,
your late 50s, you know what a coupon book is. I wonder when those went out. So you'd buy a car and it would say you pay every month $300. My payment was like $325 a month for
forever.
Yeah. And so every time you pour that out, you wrote the check, you mailed it in. I mean, this is the Stone Age, guys.
There's an old school amortization schedule. It's basically all it was, just written out in coupon form. So you tear it out and watch it get smaller.
So let's talk about, we pretty much disclosed the debts we've had. Car loan, student loans,
and
mortgages.
Mortgages are the other two. So it's, when you have big ticket purchase, unless you've just got that kind of cash sitting in your bank account, which I don't know anybody that does, especially when you're first starting out as a couple. But, a lot of times we always talked about trying not to be house poor. That, yes, we qualified for X, but we didn't go out and do that because I could always remember my dad saying, yeah, you're going to have a great house and you won't have any money to do anything else the rest of the month. And he goes, I wonder how exciting that house is going to be after about 4 or 5 months. And I'm like, all right, won't do that.
Yeah. Currently, we have no debt. I'm a fan of this plan, right?
It's my favorite.
Yeah, because then when you get your money, you pay electric, water, and then your money's yours. Highly recommend that plan.
I love that plan.
We haven't had a car note in how long?
At least 5 years. But we need to put a stipulation about the cars is that once you buy your car, you have to drive it a minimum of what?
Oh, we drive our cars.
Minimum of 10 years.
Yeah.
So you better damn sure love that car once you get it because you're going to have it a while.
Yeah. And we do love our cars.
Yeah.
And they have lasted. We've had no trouble with them. But also because we don't have bills to pay, it's easy. It's customary for us to be saving money so that when it comes time to buy a car, we have the money to go buy a car and we don't do the car note thing.
So you're saying that even though we paid the car off, we're still making pretty much car payments, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I guess
it's not
what's
free
the
money
difference? No. What's the difference if we are making a car payment to GM or making a car payment to ourselves?
Right. Interest is something that you earn, not pay. So that's the big thing is that when you're paying yourself, you can put that money off to the side. You can be as risky as you want. You can put it in a mutual fund or you could simply put it in a savings account, earn a little bit of interest. But the bottom line is you're earning money on your money instead of GM earning the interest on the money that you owe them. So for us, it's you have your car, you could trade it in if you want, or you could sell it outright. And then you take that and the cash that you saved up, by writing yourself those checks. And that's what you have to go buy a car. And if it's enough to buy your dream car, great. If not, well, either you're going to have to stay some more or you're going to have to adjust that dream.
I think we made it pretty clear in one of the previous episodes that we are Dave Ramsey fans. Dave is not a fan of any debt at all, is he? I mean, he's the only one he really considers acceptable is mortgage. And, I think we've made it clear we don't hate debt. We don't hate debt. We don't think any less of you if you have it. But the sooner you can get rid of it, the sooner you have the ability to make some powerful choices for yourself. And like Damon was saying, I'd rather pay the interest to myself than pay it to
somebody else.
Yeah. So what if you have debt now? And what do you do with it?
Well, you have a couple of choices. Dave Ramsey talks about debt snowball, which, I've always liked. He talks about, you write out all your debts that you have from the cheapest to the most expensive, I guess what you owe, the least amount to the most amount. And then what you do is you pay the minimum of what you can pay on all of those, and any extra income discretionary you put on the smallest bill. And the thought process is you end up paying that off first, which frees up that money to be able to put it on the next debt. And then that just continues to the point to where when you're getting to the bigger debts, all your free discretionary income that you were paying that the other debts will go on to the biggest one and it will help you pay it off faster. And that also includes your mortgage. So
yeah. And as it snowballs, right? That's the name. We've also heard recently of something called a debt avalanche, which I think is fascinating. That is it the quick? Can you explain the debt avalanche?
So the debt avalanche is basically in reverse. You line up your debts from what you're paying in interest from the highest to the lowest. Right. And then naturally you start paying those high interest loans off first. I don't have a preference as far as, the first one, if you're paying it off, it's kind of like dieting. If you've ever dieted, once you get a little traction, it's like, okay, I can do this. But at the same time, you're sitting there. I don't know what credit card interests are nowadays. I mean, I've seen them as high as 21, 22%. So I'm like, do you want to pay that off? And the thought process is yes. So maybe the other way, the avalanche is better for you. And that's something that as a couple, you really need to discuss to feel which way is going to work better.
Yeah, it's almost personality style. Which one's going to, one's going to take a little more dedication. One's going to let you see some progress right away, right? And you're going to keep being able to see it. And if that's your personality, go for it. Certainly find the ways that work for you.
Tell people all the time, it's like an eating plan. It'll work if you work it. If you do it. So, I mean, right or wrong, it's whatever works best for you.
Sure. And I think if we could even rewind to the very beginning of this, is when you talked about paying off your debt, you should know how much you owe. If you don't face it, that's like a monster in the closet. It's still there, but face it, tear it down. Don't be afraid to face it. That would be like absolute prerequisite is know what's there. I tell you what else I see us doing is like so-and-so's paying X% for 5 years on, whatever this month is, do you know how much you're paying in interest? I would encourage you to face it, because that might just inspire you to go ahead and pay that off instead of paying the interest. If I pay it off now, what's it going to cost me? And if I pay the full interest, how much am I going to pay? To me, it's a highly motivating. Why are you smiling? Highly motivating pain point.
Yes. You want to get through that definitely sooner rather than later, because the bottom line is it's not going anywhere. My dad used to say all the time, the great thing about the United States is no debtor's prison anymore. He said, but those credit cards are definitely creating indentured servants.
It feels like it. It feels like it. Do you think, I don't know, this might be a hot topic, that when someone's in the middle of paying off their debt, they should have no fun while they're working on it?
No. But the one thing that I would say is that you've had delayed gratification, you've had instant gratification. So I would ask you, which one of those two got you to where you are right now? And I'd be willing to bet it's instant gratification. So I like the idea of what Sally has said in the past, is that you set these goals for yourself that, hey, we're going to pay these first 2 bills off. And when we do that, hey, we're going to go out to dinner, or we're going to do something that we want to do. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's like you kind of put that carrot out in front of yourself and said, let's take care of this. And then we get to do something that we want to do. Now, it may not happen right away. It may not happen every week, but the bottom line is the more that you do that, then it kind of, like I said, it comes to a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start going forward. And then all of a sudden you don't necessarily need that carrot out in front of you. And if you do, great. But if not, it's like, you know what? The excitement part is just checking these debts off.
What do you think of the concept? It kind of all or nothing is, I was doing really well, I messed up, and just, why try?
That's me. I get to the point sometimes I'm like, oh, messed it up.
I know we keep going back to diet, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same mentality. And if you're that mentality of, I messed up, I quit, I might as well quit.
And see, I'm no quitter. So like when I eat that bag of Oreos, I'm not just going to stop. I'm going to eat the whole thing. I'll go back on the plan tomorrow, but I'm not stopping. I'm going to get those Oreos down.
So maybe, when it comes to debt, is like, oh, we were doing great. We had such momentum. And then, I don't know, we did something that wasn't on plan. Get back to it tomorrow. Beating yourself up about it is not going to help you move the needle.
I agree.
Okay, so here's if we were going to list it all out, basics. Know what you owe. Write it all down.
That's key. How you going to know what you got to pay off or what you owe if you don't even know? It's a starting point. That's all it is.
Pick your method if you're going to pay off debt. If you're going to maybe just, I'm going to live with the mortgage, but I'm going to go after the credit cards and the school loans. Or pick them off one at a time. Do whatever. But pick your method, lock in, stick with it.
And there's no right or wrong method.
No. Build it into your budget like it's a bill. You wouldn't ignore the electric bill, right? We live in Texas. I don't want to be without air conditioning. Don't skip that bill.
We talked about this, earlier too, is that once you kind of get in there and realize what you got, and like you said, you tick those things off.
And then celebrate your wins. Every $100, every $1,000, I don't know what it is. Give yourself a visual. If you have a chart on the wall, a chart in your closet where people don't have to see it, a chart somewhere where you say, this is how much we have and this is how much. Watch it tick away. Give yourself a visual so you stay motivated in what you're doing. And I'm always a fan of celebrating wins, probably wins that don't cost you money, that send you back in the other direction. So it's not about punishment. We're not trying to steal all your fun. It's just, we want you to get to the goal where your money is your money.
Pick and choose, because that money's not going to give you happiness, but what is it going to give you?
It's going to give you choices.
And that's freedom. Until next time, thanks for joining us.